I re-hit the button. New logo identity. Who's this? All right. It is me, Brian, from Managed Comics. And I am here for the Managed Comics Thoughtstream. Everything looks just a little bit tilted today. I'm not sure why. I guess my camera might be in a different place than where it usually is. Oh, that looks a little bit better. Huh. All right. Well, let's get right to it. This is the Thoughtstream for Thursday, November 17th, 2022. This will be the second last Thoughtstream of 2022. After this, we're probably going to go a little bit, we're going to go a little quiet for the rest of December. We'll do one more show December 1st, and then I'm retooling a bunch of things, and I hope to have everything redone for the new year. So in the meantime, give a shout out. I see Revenge of, based out of Los Angeles. I'm not familiar with you guys. Are you kind of new to Managed Comics? Because I don't recognize the shop, and I usually know all of our shop names. But this week we are Dal of Challengers Comics and Conversations says he's the less popular half. And this is Joe from Revenge of. There's BD Cosmos is in the house. Let us get right into the survey. So we did a survey of the Managed Comics 2 stores. Took place, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks that we let it run to get all the responses. And today we're going to talk about kind of what we learned from it. We'll discuss some of the comments that were left in it, and let's jump right into it. I'm gonna embiggen my page because it'll make it easier. So of course, you all know to find us on YouTube. So we are now youtube.com/@managedcomics. So it's really easy to remember now. I think we got about 97 subscribers, so we're pretty close to the 100 mark. I'll pop a little champagne when we hit 100. Like us on Facebook. We also have a Facebook group, which we'll talk about later. We also have an Instagram channel. We post a lot of stuff to our Instagram channel once a week. And then we also post things kind of midweek as we find interesting things, which brings us to our recent Instagram and Facebook posts. We spotlighted Bugs Comics of O'Fallon, Missouri. Bugs Comics was one of the first Managed Comics beta testers, and they really helped to find a lot of bugs. Pun. Up next was Ron's Comic Closet in Mary Esther, Florida, and they were one of the early Shopify websites that we helped build. I'd really like to get in there and tweak some things now that we've learned a whole ton of things since we've built other Shopify stores. The Multiverse in Hearst, Texas recently moved over from 1.0 to 2.0. They are doing some great things with 2.0, and it was actually a really smooth and seamless transition, and I'm really happy with that for them. We celebrated the 7th anniversary of Managed Comics, launched Managed Comics in November of 2015 to about 100 customers from, actually we started out with like 20 customers from All New Comics. And then by November, we had rolled it out to about 120, I think 180 around there. 7 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long. The industry has entirely changed in 7 years. Super Pup Millie was our October 31st Halloween thing. That's our little resident superhero there, Millie. And we also spotlighted C3 Comics in Regina, Saskatchewan. And now, this is going to be fun. Quick word from our sponsor. This week's sponsor.
The Managed Comics Order Helper makes point-of-sale checkout a breeze. You can get to the app in one tap once you've added the app title to your point of sale. From there, you'll find any Managed Comics orders through our browse or search options. Clicking on the customer order will let you select the items you want to bring into the POS cart. The cart is created with all items and their individual discounts exactly as they appear in Managed Comics. You can check out some or all of the items. Any items removed from the cart will go back into the Manage Comics order. We think it's all super easy to use, but if you have any issues, you can always visit our support knowledge base or ask us a question and we'll get back to you quickly. Manage Comics Order Helper makes subscription checkouts accurate, quick, and easy.
So it's alive. The Manage Comics Order Helper is finally alive. We fought with Shopify since October 11th. That we've been back and forth with them. And the last thing earlier this week was that they had decided that this was a point of sale app and needed to become its own point of sale channel, which sucked. But anyway, we managed to get things kind of resolved. I got a hold of our partner representative and they kind of convinced them that they were being insane, and it made its way through the process. So I think this morning when I looked, we had about a half dozen, maybe 7 stores using the point of sale order helper challengers. I know you guys are using it. Oh my gosh, I feel like we've got both challengers challenging right now. So it is, it's running. We've got a whole little side quest going on with folks talking about Lightspeed. I've done some talking with Lightspeed this week due to my frustration with Shopify. I'm not sure where that's going to lead to. We are looking at integration and how hard it is. But yeah, Cryptid Cove has joined late, and hopefully they won't miss the pandas. No pandas anymore. The pandas have been put on retirement until our next survey. So let's go through the 2022 survey results, and we're going to start out with kind of the overall big picture. We got 42 responses out of 102 stores solicited. I was kind of sad. My wife's like, "What are you talking about? That's great. You got a 41% response rate. Like, you shouldn't expect that much." Fair enough. I was kind of hoping for in my head, I wanted half. But you know what? 42 is better than nothing, and it gives us a good sampling to let us know what we need to do better. And I think we've got a good idea now. We're going to start out with ease of use. So ease of use, the question was, is Manage Comics easy to use as a store manager? The range was super easy to not easy at all, and it was about 69% positive. So that includes super easy and pretty easy. We kind of merged those two together. We got 3 neutrals, 2 not easies. I feel like those numbers are off because I know there were more than that. It was because that would be only 12 total. Anyway, we did okay, but I think we can do better. How easy is it to do weekly check-ins? Overwhelmingly positive, 83% positive, 17% neutral or worse. The one person who said not easy at all, we're definitely going to check in with them and find out what's going on, because I have a funny feeling there's either we haven't explained something right, or it's not being done the way that we would expect. Oh, those aren't numbers. That's 5 is super easy. 4 is pretty easy. That's why it goes down. I'm so dumb. And I actually figured this out. Wow. Okay. So yeah, the not easy represented, I think it was like 1 or 2 people. That should be 2%, not 3%. So yeah, that's pretty positive. Check-ins should be easy. We put a lot of time into the check-ins. How easy is it to figure out initial orders? Okay, we got a 59% positive on that. 41% were neutral or worse. We know we need to get better at this. So previous order numbers are obviously going to be a big piece of that. Previous sales, which we will be working on. It actually is starting on Monday. The work on that. How easy is it to figure out FOC orders? So again, this was not even nearly as positive as initial orders. So FOCs are getting harder. Yeah, 41% positive, 59% neutral or worse. I think solving the previous order numbers and previous order numbers you already have, you just don't have them for previous issues. So I think making that information easier to get to will actually improve this significantly. How easy is it to add new titles to a customer list? Again, 2% not easy at all, and I'm curious what that means. So, majority, 74% were positive. I do know that this needs a little bit of work. There's a couple little things that we want to do. One of them is I want to do away with, oops, I want to do away with, sorry, I want to change up kind of the title listings so that they actually say like Batman brackets 1939, that the Batman series that it is, and then issue number. So getting more of the stuff that we have already in our system. And then there's a lot of confusion around when you add somebody and when it starts pulling them. So we need to get better at that so that you'll know, okay, if I add them today, the first issue they're going to get pulled is issue 16. I want them to actually get issue 15 for that kind of thing. So yeah. BD Cosmos says some of us don't have access to FOC orders though, so it might skew the numbers for FOC. So I got good news. You use Universal, you will have FOCs. I was talking to Alessandro last week, early this week, and Universal is adding FOCs. So we're actually just in the process of figuring out kind of how much information they need. One issue with subbing customers to titles is with cloning. If we're moving Fantastic Four customers 2018 to 2022, nobody is subbed to the 2022. You can't go into the subscription to sub. Yeah, I know that. I've actually talked to Taras about changing cloning to be the opposite. So like clone from. So yeah, like Ivan says here, you have to seed it. So you have to add your first customer in order to bring more into it. I know. It would make more sense if you could go into Fantastic Four 2018 and say clone to, and then search for a title. I totally get that. By the way, try explaining that kind of thing to a developer, because half the time they're like, but it does what you want it to do. No, it does the opposite of what I want it to do. But it's the same thing. No, it's the opposite of the same thing. How useful are the system emails Managed Comics sends? So by system emails, I should have clarified this a little bit more. These are things like new pre-orders that are awaiting approval. I'm trying to think of all the other system emails that we send out. That's the big one, is that I get like new pre-order emails. I think we send out an email about customer changes, although that may be 1.0. So we're not sure what would make these more useful or what you'd like. Give us any ideas. So if you have ideas of what system emails you would like Managed Comics to send out, they could be things like new changes to customer logins or customer lists. Might be changes to, well, pre-orders we already do, declined pre-orders maybe. Yeah, let us know what it is you'd like, and I'll be sending out an email with like kind of some findings and what I think we should do as next steps. The question was, do you use the Managed Comics knowledge base? And the answer was 50-50 no. Yes, this is intense staring. We have put so much work into that knowledge base. And ironically, later in the thing, people have said, we would like more videos. Why? Half y'all don't use them. So we do videos, and I'm following up with a few people. Exactly. I even said, this is why I cried. So true. Do you use the extra features, blog articles, thought streams, etc.? 57% yes, 31% no, 12% didn't know they exist. We send out multiple emails, but again, the marketing emails aren't really that useful apparently, because how useful are the marketing emails that we send? 50% found them useful, 50% found them not. So we're going to pare back our list for sure. Take a look at who's getting these and who's engaging with them. I have the ability to turn off unengaged users. So I think we're just going to kind of slow down emails on the the unengaged. Cryptico says, so much good information in that knowledge base for a newbie like I was. Look at that, Ivan. Don't hate yourself. Things are good. Talking to customer usage, 79% said overall your customers like Managed Comics too. We know that customers who use Managed Comics, generally speaking, like the system. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And I know that there's some things that we can change, and we definitely will. In 2023, I want to put a renewed effort on the front end. We've done a ton on the admin back end. And if you were to look at our tickets, they're probably 95% swayed in favor of the admin and only 5% towards the customer side. So we definitely need to put some more effort in the customer side. Compared to your previous solution, do customers use Managed Comics 2 more than, less than, or customers couldn't modify their list? So customers use the Managed Comics system, which is great. And this kind of proves that when given the opportunity, customers will manage their lists. Oh yeah, this is my favorite one. One of the people who said less also said they were previously using pen and paper. So how were your customers using your pen and paper system before? Although they could have had like a sheet, I guess, or something that customers were changing. To which I say, if that was working for you before, like, keep it going. That's the kind of thing that you want to add to your solution and not take away an option that's working. Because I think like 20 to 30% of your customers are never going to go online anyway. So, you have to have an in-store solution as well, which is why Managed Comics on the point of sale still works. And there's a tile option. You can actually generate a tile for Managed Comics in the point of sale so that you can get in and edit somebody's list when they're up at the cash register, or you can do that at a different place. BD Cosmos says the majority of our 180 polls do not use the system. Maybe 10% do, whom I appreciate. Maybe it's an opportunity to run a campaign where you tell people about it. I find a lot of time people just don't know that they can do it. Sorry, I'm going to go back to this, get rid of that. And maybe that's something we can do, is start using some of Craig's marketing know-how to create some campaigns that you guys can send out and start getting more people using your system. And that's the nice thing, right? If you have their emails in your system, you can send campaigns through Managed Comics, which will help to improve your overall engagement. What do your customers subscribe to? What do your customers use Managed Comics to do? So like 95% of them were subscribe. It was like 78% were pre-order covers, but 20, I think it was 30% around there was pre-order ratios. Just over 50% was pre-order graphic novels. And then there was around 35% that was pre-order other items. Do customers use Managed Comics 2 more than your previous solution? So 45%, 5% said less, and 50% said they couldn't modify their list. So 95% are using it more than they were using it before because they couldn't even do anything before. And we know that customers who manage their lists will subscribe to more products. Dal says every Tuesday night we send out an email to subscribers that lets them know what they've received for the week with links to Managed Comics tools. We see more engagement every week. Yeah, and the email that lets your subscribers know what they received for the week is one of those little things that like people need to get in the habit of doing. Even my local comic store doesn't send it out to me, and I don't go in on the weeks that I don't get that email. And when I get that email, I go in. So it's like that email is the number one call to action for me to go into the store. And what's funny, there's been a couple times that I've gone into the store kind of on a whim, and there's been stuff waiting for me that I didn't even realize was there, and that I would have like rushed into the store to pick up, like the Fantastic Four full circle thing. I would have gone out of my way to get there to get that. So, about your business, which POS system do you use? So 57% were using Shopify, 21% using BinderPause. So good news, as of this week, the Shopify point of sale order helper is working. So there should be a bunch of you adding that on. I'm talking with Barrett from BinderPause about doing something similar for BinderPause. They need to create endpoints for us, and as soon as they do, then what we'll basically do is kind of use the same system to push the product quantities over into Shopify, and then just create an order in BinderPause instead of creating the order in Shopify. Should be really easy, and we won't have to create a separate app at all. You'll go into Manage Comics. When the customer comes in, you'll pull up their order, say send to BinderPause, and it will send the whole order right over there. Here's an example of how Lightspeed works. We manually add everything to our customers' layaway in Lightspeed and email every pull box their list weekly. Very cool. Up next, what subscription system did you use before Managed Comics? 38% were Comic Suite, 19% Pullbox. So you're looking at about 50% were using Comic Suite / Pullbox. 10% Excel, pen and paper. We had about, I think, around a half dozen Comic Hub users. None and other, which was all over the place. There was a ton of different other things that people were using. There was probably 5 or 6 homegrown systems, and I can't imagine keeping those darn things alive these days. Yeah, Comic Suite and Pullbox are the Diamond Previews solution. So Comic Suite was based on Microsoft RMS, which has been end of life for around 5 or 6 years now, I think, maybe longer. And Pullbox was their solution that they built on top of Previews World, which I find super confusing, but some people like it. So whatever. As a Comic Hub user myself, do you know the reason they switched to Manage Comics? Why people switched to Manage Comics? I don't actually, although, there's a couple folks here that can tell you their decisions. I know Dal and Challengers played with Comic Hub for a while. I think mostly it's usually because they want something a little bit simpler. I know Comic Hub is an amazing system, has all the bells and whistles, but at the same time, I've been used to work at a shop that had Comic Hub. Amazing bells and whistles, a little bit confusing to use if you're not kind of really technically savvy. And the customer front end is, from what I've seen, and this is just my personal opinion, not terribly friendly. BD Cosmos only had pen and paper when they bought the store and immediately looked for a better solution. So, Julian, when did you buy that store? Because I know we've been working with you pretty much since probably 2017, so 5 years or so. That's an interesting one. We asked about sales channels. This is good. Well, why don't I we'll talk a little bit. Issue we had with Comic Hub was it felt like we had to alter too many of our procedures to fit Comic Hub's logic. It felt like I had started working at Stu's store. Patrick says, Comic Hub was just not for us. Managed Comics is far more willing to adjust to what users want, as opposed to making the user conform. Ivan says there's a lot to love about Comic Hub, but some things just didn't work for my shop. Yeah, so I think that tends to be the usual responses. Like, it's a great system, it just doesn't work for every store, I think. We asked which sales channels you use. This was an interesting question. I think I was really unclear. There's a fight going on in the chat. Dal and I should really coordinate our comments. Dal says no. I love you guys. So yeah, my question was really unclear because the assumption should have been, your website is one of your sales channel. We got probably 40% of the people saying that they used their website. So yeah, that was my assumption. One person indicated they have no online sales, and in 1 second, we're going to talk about why I hope they change their mind. 66% were eBay, 26% Whatnot, 21% Facebook, 13% Google, 7.9% Amazon Marketplace. I really wish Whatnot would become a Shopify sales channel. That'd be amazing. I doubt they will. Having gone through the most recent iteration of the Shopify approval process, I can't imagine why any sane company would want to go through this. We went through it a year ago. It was terrible, but it was not nearly as terrible and as infuriating as it is right now. It is without a doubt, and I've had apps approved by Apple. This is without a doubt the most onerous and ridiculous approval system I've ever seen. So you can just clip that. I'll give you my from Shopify can clip this. The Shopify app approval process is without a doubt the most onerous and ridiculous process I've ever been subjected to. Thank you. Brian Garside, Managed Comics, November 17th, 2022. Getting back to less angry creating things. So yeah, it's kind of a good grouping of things. Nothing really surprising. eBay, Whatnot. There was a bunch of others, which included Hip Comic, TikTok, Instagram, TCG Player, and Pop Shop Live. One person indicated no online sales. Online sales, I think, are like, especially if you just do it as click and collect, so you don't even offer shipping. It's just basically having your store open 24 hours a day without having to have your store open 24 hours a day. And you do have to worry about, scalpers scalping things. Unless you're in a smaller market like I am in London, if you don't have, online sales and yet you allow people to click and collect, I can't tell you the number of times that I bought something from one of the stores I go to pick it up when I get my books, just because I wanted to make sure that I don't miss that thing. So it's a good thing to have, and it doesn't really have to add to your burden. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna dive into the chat right now. Online sales are better than pre-pandemic, the same as pre-pandemic, worse than pre-pandemic, or I didn't have online sales pre-pandemic. This makes me so happy. Like, online sales are here to stay. I'm so glad to see the comic industry getting into online sales and really kind of embracing it. I've embraced and tried to evangelize online sales since 2015, when I started Managed Comics. I think it's the single biggest mover of like the single biggest change you can make to your store, shy of moving yourself directly onto Main Street. It's just makes a huge difference. We asked a ton of questions about new features, and here's how the what new features would you like the most broke down. So storylines was kind of the number one. Initial FOC information was number two. More user-friendly customer front end with better navigation, filter, selection, and sorting options was number three. FOC, new releasing, more printable pull report came up a ton. So yeah, that's kind of all the rest of it. Surprisingly, better Canadian, UK, international price options didn't fare as well as I thought it would. probably 10 of the stores that responded were international, and only half of those said that they want better pricing options. So that was interesting. Binder pause transfers was fairly high up there, but again, there were like 10, 12 binder pause stores, and they didn't all select that. And again, to me, this gives me a good idea that all the things that we've got kind of in our list are things people want. Because if any of these came up with zeros, like, I would just straight up drop them off the list. But everything has a bunch of people um, that want them. So the top 5 and the things that we'll be working on right away. And honestly, number 5, I think I've actually nailed. We'll see when I get that out to production or to staging next week. Number 1 is storylines. Number 2, and this is based on overall scores. Number 2, initial FOC information. Number 3, a more user-friendly customer front end with better navigation. Number 4, FOC. Number 5, pull list. So what's interesting is when we flip this around to the weighted scoring. So the way we weighted our scoring was first choices got 5 points, second choices got 3 points, and third places got 1 point. So that gives us a nice like even weighting distribution. Initial FOC information came up first. More user-friendly front end for customers was second. Storylines was third. Checking UPC codes before creating a new version of a product in Shopify was fourth, which is interesting because that is way down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth. So it goes up 2 points. FOC new releases, email, request back order on products, pre-order payments, deposits for pre-orders, more printable pull reports. So basically, I'm going to take all this stuff away, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of a effort value analysis. So this gives me a really good idea of what's super important to you guys. Some of these things are super easy, and some of these things are things that we almost inherit by doing other things. So a good example of that is storylines. The third highest rated thing is storylines. Storylines basically means that we would subscribe to a series or pre-order specific issues. And if you're already subscribed to the series, we wouldn't pre-order the issue for that. So it kind of changes a little bit of the logic of how we do how we do polls. But at the same time, it's not that hard to move from that to replacing a cover with another cover, because most of the logic is already in the storyline thing. So we will probably inherit replacing covers when we do storylines, which will be one of the first 3 things. The other one is the printable pull report. It's literally a bunch of style sheets that I need to create for a print style. I spent 20 minutes one day just kind of coming up with something that would work. I don't have that into QA. I'm hoping to get that into QA next week when the guys start working on stuff. And I think it'll get us 90% of the way there. And it took me 20 minutes of work to get it done. Printable pull report wasn't even on my radar. Wasn't even thinking that it was something that we would do. I added it towards the end of our creation of the survey because I had gotten a couple of emails about, could you make the pull report more printable? I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll throw that into our list. What other ones here? So we're definitely working right away on initial FOC information, more user-friendly customer front end. is something I'm going to have to work with people to understand what it is they're looking for. Because I think just dictating a solution here isn't going to be effective. So I'm actually going to reach out to, I think there's like 6 people that rank that number 1, 6 people that ranked it number 2. I'll be reaching out to those 12 people. And hopefully we can get like just a nice big Zoom going and talk about that. Yeah, so this just shows us our kind of overall next 5 things we'll work on. I imagine that it'll take me a while to actually mock up what that even looks like. So we'll probably do initial FOC information and then jump right into storylines. At the same time, I know the team is working on they're working on a reservation system. One of the comments we got quite a bit was stop duplicating products. We have to do that because there's no way to reserve issues or product in Shopify. So we're going to work on a system of our own. And I didn't include that because it's something we were going to work on no matter what. And Steve Jobs always said, if you ask people what they want, they'll tell you faster horses. Oh no, that was Henry Ford that said that. This is a case where we just got to build you a better car because I can't really explain how fundamental it is. Lightspeed integration is probably down the road a bit. Yeah, so we are actually looking into Lightspeed integration, and I just managed to get access to their API documentation and all that stuff. I'll be honest, Lightspeed integration would be a lot easier if they just embrace two-way communication with Shopify. It should be super easy to do, and I don't understand why they don't do it. So now that I've got the right people to talk to, I'm going to start pushing that a little bit and saying, if you guys had two-way communication, I would be happy to push Lightspeed as a solution because I think it'd be a great solution. But without two-way communication, they have two-way order communication, two-way sales tracking communication, just not product creation. And frankly, product creation in Shopify is better than it is in Lightspeed. So I don't know. We'll see. Preach. So I guess I'm not the only one to have said this. So that gives us an idea what we're working on. Overall feedback that came back from people. Do you use the vote for features? No, people don't know it. So one more time, roadmap.managedcomics.com. Do you participate in online retailer communities? 67% were yes. The third option was, I don't have any interest. What a dumb thing to have on there. It's the same as no. No, and I don't have interest. If we built a retailer community, what should it be? 58% was Facebook, 26% was Discord. So we just went ahead and launched those, and we'll talk about those in a minute. Overall, how satisfied are you with Managed Comics? So this is something called the Net Promoter Score, where you take all the 9s and 10s, and then you basically ignore the 7s and 8s, and you consider the 6s to 0 as detractors. Detractors will leave and possibly say bad things about you. So yeah, we only had 5% of our folks in the 6 and below. We had 33% in the neutrals, and then we had 62% in the positive. So that's great. Like overall, a 57% net promoter score is not bad, but our goal is 90. So we've got some work to do. Would you refer Managed Comics to a fellow retailer? 93% said yes, 7% said no. To the 3 people that said no, we'd like to talk to you and figure out why you said no. I'm hoping it's because, we've got some things to do, and that's great. I would love that. If it's just because you don't like me, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll let Ivan take over. Ryan said title management, such as Dr. Afra, still showing in the system as retailer summit variant. So I'm not exactly sure what this one would be. If anybody sees data stuff like this, just shoot us an email at help@managedcomics.com. We'll look into it. 9 times out of 10, it's because something did something stupid and changed something that it shouldn't have. And we can fix it quickly. Like data problems, we fix quickly. Make weekly pull lists easier to download and print. Done. Okay, I'll do it. Julian said, I know you don't want toggles, but we need them badly on off for initial orders for books, minimum 1 copy order, or filters going through emails. I get it. Filters toggles aren't terribly easy to do with Polaris, but we'll figure out something because we've created a lot of them. Just the weird thing is with Polaris, you can get into states where, and Polaris is Shopify's like templating language, but you can get into states where you have zero results and you can't clear the filters back out. So if we could clear the toggles off and on properly, like you can with any other JavaScript system, we'd gladly do this. But the reason we don't is because, man, like initial orders, I can get into a state where I can't find any results because I've selected, DC Comics and show only new issues or new series. And then I go to Boom Studios and there's no new series. And then I go back to DC and it still shows me 0. And it's like so frustrating. So I don't know why. I think the solution will probably be some sort of nuke button that just eliminates all the filters. The ability on FOC and initial orders see exactly how subscriber numbers are being formulated. Subs versus pre-orders pop out windows of exactly who is signed up, etc. Yeah, it makes sense. And we'll see what we can do. Again, we're limited with what we can do in terms of modal windows and that kind of thing. Without have DC Comics automated like the others, keep a history of. So that one specifically, Jeff, is speaking of us getting, I think, of us getting the check-ins working with Universal. I'm hoping by next week we'll have that solved because Universal is supposed to launch their CSV files this week. Keep a history of orders for each customer. Yes, that's on our list of things to do. Easier way to mark customers that have picked up. That's why the POS tile exists. Have a better input screen for new titles. Okay. Allow shops to customize the page to highlight Marvel, DC, and Image. And that makes sense too. So yeah, having some toggles on the front end to change the order of what shows up at the top. Paul said pre-orders should appear with the rest of the titles, not separately, because it makes doing FOC take longer and leaves more room for mistakes. Also, sometimes the system will change the name of a series title or the cover a customer is shown for, or the series won't show up for a customer on check-in, but will show if you go and look at the customer by name. 3 different things. So pre-orders and subs showing up together, that's just a specific report, and I think we'll solve that with the initial order thing. Sometimes the system changing the name of the series titles get changed by us, not by the system. So if that happens, that's because we've changed it. Again, help@managedcomics.com if you see something like that. Cover a customer is down for gets changed by the system. That ain't the system. So we'll talk about this at length at some point. DC Comics, which we've now been in contact with Comics Pro, and I think I've got a call with DC when I get back from vacation, which, spoiler alert, is next week. I'm pretty sure I've got a call with DC where we're trying to convince them to stop changing B covers to C covers. So all along, B covers have always been for DC cardstock, right? Like since, I want to say 2019, 2018, they started doing the cardstock covers. So they're doing acetate variants, and they've labeled those as B covers. And a B cover, by the way, is the last two digits of the cover should be 2-1. That's the B cover. The last two digits, 1-1, is first cover, A cover, first printing. B cover is 2-1. Second cover, first printing. C cover is 3-1. Third cover, first printing. With the acetate covers, they should be C covers. But for some reason, DC is UPCing them and issue sequencing number of 1, which is wrong. So we're hoping we can get that solved. But yeah, it's frustrating. Like, I don't know what to say. I get your problem, but we can't change the UPC code. That's something that's actually on the title. And I don't know what to say. Series won't show up for a customer on check-in. If you go look at the customer by name, this is something we do poorly, which is if you subscribe to somebody today and the FOC was Monday, they're not going to get that next issue. We need to do a better job of showing you the issue that they'll get next. Stop the double receiving of books created by a separate entry for sub books. Robert asked this. So again, this goes back to that we have to have something that we can reserve. So we're going to be creating a reserved item. That by the way was asked by a number of people. No multi-store function. So we need to operate out of a single store, which is kind of tough. Yeah. That's something not even on the list, but it is something that's high on our list of priorities. So there's some things that aren't going to show up on our list that we're going to be doing anyway. And multi-store is one because we have, so I think I have in 2.0 alone, or sorry, 1.0 alone, 6 stores that I want to get over that are multi-store, maybe 8. So it's super high. One of my goals for 2023 is to get as many people off 1.0 as possible, with a goal, honestly, of shutting it down at some point, hopefully the end of 2023. It's holding on by a thread, and the industry has changed so much that I don't know if we can maintain it if too many more things change. Another is that we don't have an easy way to identify which stores the customers are at. So again, multi-store. Wish there was an easy identifier for that. Thanks, Wade. And we hear you, and we'll look at it. Not even look at it. We'll do it. Love to see check-ins for products from more secondary distributors. That'd be cool. We need the data first, so that'll be something we'll start looking into. Maybe I can throw Ivan at looking into more distributors stuff, because it was something he actually had asked about back when they were a store of ours. Lee says adding subs directly from the POS screen would be huge. Done. Really easy. There's actually a tile, and we're going to reach out to Lee and show him how to do that. It's pretty simple. Better, faster dissemination of issues and info that affects a lot of users, like all DC items on FOC are reflecting last week's data. This is from Doug. Yeah, I wish I was better at this. Frankly, I'm not. My priority when something's wrong is to fix it and then communicate right after. And often these things take time to fix. So I hear you, Doug. I'll try to be better at this. I'm not good at it. More robust help center. Takeaways and actions. So we launched the Managed Comics Order Helper, which will help some of the comments that we got, and will help definitely with getting folks synced up. It will also help us get better data for the initial order stuff that we need. And going forward, I'm really excited about that. By the way, we've already found our first weird bug, which we didn't see in production and all of our tests. So it turns out if you have multiple locations, as long as your first location, your primary location is your store, it works fine. But somebody had the Marvel app, and the order helper was trying to add items to the Marvel location, which is so weird. So we're looking at that. I'm pretty sure Kuro was looking at that overnight, and I forgot to follow up on it. But if it isn't fixed, it'll be fixed shortly. It's a weird kind of unique bug. But yeah, I think the solution to it might be that we have to check which location the POS is logged into. And it'll be interesting to know. So that would mean we have to check on each device which POS the POS is logged into. It should be, relatively straightforward. Yeah, live. We launched 2 new communities. So we launched a Facebook group and we launched a Discord. So if you go to info.managecomics.com/community, you'll find our 2 community things, and you can join them right from there. So please get in there and join the community. We are working on order history. So I've built out the kind of layout of what that will look like, and I sent that off to the developers. They're working on that starting Monday. We actually have a new developer starting on Monday, so hopefully she'll be able to dedicate a bunch of time to this one while we continue working on making sure that things are working on the back end. So we're going to do a quick interim report that'll show previous sales and previous orders, and then I'll get feedback from that and we'll build out on that. So the idea is in 2 weeks, I'd like to have this launched, get you guys using it, tell us what we need to improve on, and then we'll go ahead and improve it and make it better. I like to get things out quickly and then iterate on them. And I think that's about it. Like I mentioned earlier, in 2 weeks on December 1st, we will do our next Thoughtstream. And that one, we're going to do kind of an Ask Me Anything thing. And oh man, earlier today, I had an actual topic that I was going to do. So we'll definitely have a topic, and we'll be ready to go with that. And then I'm away next week, but Ivan's got you guys all covered. Taras is always available if we have any code issues. And if anybody has any problems, you always know help@managecomics.com is where you go. Oh, did I have anything else to say? No, it's just the usual vote on the roadmap. And I hope to see you guys in the community. I'll send some pictures from my lovely resort where I'm going to be with my wife and kids and everyone next week. And if you've got anything you need to ask us, please don't hesitate to reach out, help@managecomics.com. And in the meantime, and in between times, keep selling those comics. Thanks, everyone.